So now this is going to be a demonstration of how to get rid of a reasonable sized clump of fountain grass.
Exactly.
And the expert here is going to help us with this one as well.
Fantastic. So yeah, so we've got fountain grass, we've got a good example of fountain grass, and we've got some neighboring buffalo grass as well. They typically do kind of grow in similar areas. With the fountain grass, you can tell it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more dense in terms of that vegetation and the way that it grows. A little bit skinnier leaves as well. This one doesn't really have the inflorescence on it, but they look similar to the buffalo grass. They're gonna be kind of fluffy with those seeds. So similar thing with these ones, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of reach down towards the base, kind of expose the base here. If there are any rocks that are kind of impeding your way, you can just move those out of the way and move them back once you're done. So I'll go ahead and get those out of the way, just a little bit easier. And again, we're just kind of looking at the base of it. We want to excavate those rhizomes. So kind of start, a couple of inches away from where the base meets the ground. And you can take, I'm going to use the wide end for this one, and we'll go ahead and just start chipping away at this. Sometimes I'll flip it around to the narrow side and just kind of get that dirt loosened up a little bit. This one has a little bit of rock down there.
This is a very rocky hillside.
Yes. So I'm starting to see some roots there. I'm using my hand here, kind of holding the base as leverage. We're just making sure we've got a good hold on it. And again, we're getting those rhizomes up and those roots. So I'm gonna kind of move around the different directions and kind of make sure I'm loosening it up. And voila.
And how do you know if you've got all of the part of the plant that you wanted to?
Great question. So good indicator is going to be this kind of dense cluster of roots here. So they do grow in clusters. Each one of these is kind of an individual little plant, but they're all kind of, aggregated at the bottom here. And again, you'll kind of notice you'll see this root ball, and then there'll be the rhizomes kind of on the other side. But then you can also just, do a little dig with your hand, kind of move some things around, double check and make sure. For the most part, if you've got the plant like this, you're in good shape. So this is a good indicator.
And what's the name of that tool that you're using?
This is a little hand pick. So it's a small, I think it's about a pound and a half, 2 pounds. You can either use a size like this. I use this one just since it's a little bit more nimble and maneuverable. You can use a medium-sized pick as well. I like this because, again, you have more control and you can use that leverage to kind of dig it up as you're going. But just a little pick, you can get these at Home Depot. That's where we got this one. Ace Hardware, any kind of hardware store or gardening store is going to likely have one of these. And again, you've got the kind of wider edge here. It has a little chisel kind of to it, kind of like the backside of a hammer almost.
Yeah.
And this side is a little bit more pointed, so you can kind of rotate between the two depending upon what that ground is like as you're excavating, and use it to your advantage.
And if you have a really huge clump, will you use a different tool?
If I have a huge clump, I will typically start with this. I will keep a medium-sized pick on hand, but what I typically do then is take it kind of section by section. So I'll start at one angle, kind of move around, get a little bit here, and then if these were even closer to each other, I'd kind of excavate this one, pull this up by itself, and then move into the next section.
So okay, so they tend to have little sections within large clumps.
Yes.
Oh, that's great to know. That's really helpful.
Or if it's matted, just kind of peel it up and then just keep working your way through it, and kind of lift and pull as you go.
And the same thing, I'm guessing that goes in a bag, even though that one doesn't appear to have seeds on it.
That's right. So this one, if you wanted to, you could just put it, what we typically do is we'll take it, fold it in half like this, and then sometimes we set it here, as we're waiting and as we're moving through a section. With this, it's not as imperative that you put it immediately in the trash bag, but a trash bag is generally a good way of transporting these. You get less of the fibers kind of moving around in the air, but with ones that don't have the seeds on them, it's not as imperative that you have them in the trash bag. But generally, if you're kind of moving through a section that has some with, some without, it's always a good idea. You can just consolidate them in the same bag.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.